I still remember the night that text came through, short, cold, and almost rehearsed. Working late at the office. Don't wait up. For a few seconds, I just stared at the screen, trying to convince myself it meant nothing. Sarah had been coming home late for weeks, blaming deadlines, client dinners, and endless meetings. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But that message, it didn't sound like her. It sounded like a stranger writing excuses. The house was quiet, but my mind wasn't. Every corner echoed with ghosts of what used to be. Her laughter in the kitchen, the faint trace of her perfume near the couch, the way she used to hum when she cooked. For 3 years, she had been my anchor, my calm after chaos. But lately, she'd been drifting further and further away. I poured myself a drink and glanced at the clock. 9:15 p.m. She usually called by now. Instead, there was silence. I scrolled through our old texts, little messages about dinner plans, funny memes, random, I love US. Now, all I got were one-liners. Busy. Can't talk. Later. I told myself not to overthink it. But that night, something in me refused to rest. I started typing. All right, don't work too hard. Then I deleted it. It sounded weak, like a man waiting to be ignored. So I wrote something different. Something simple, but sharp enough to cut through the silence. Got it. Don't wait up for me either. I hit send. My hands trembled, not from anger, but from realization. I finally meant it. 10 minutes later, she called. Her voice was soft, careful, like someone who'd been caught mid-lie. Hey, what do you mean by that? Exactly what you think. I said, you're working late. So am I? There was a pause, then a forced laugh. You're being dramatic, Mark. But in the background, I could hear it. Music, laughter, a man's voice. And in that moment, I didn't feel rage or heartbreak. Just clarity. 3 seconds that undid 3 years of trust. When the call ended, I just sat there. My heart didn't shatter. It just stopped believing. I realized I'd been loving someone who'd already checked out long before she ever said the words. An hour later, I grabbed my jacket and keys. No destination in mind, just away. I drove through the empty streets, replaying every small moment I'd ignored. The night she turned away when I reached for her. The morning she brushed past me without a word. Every late meeting that now made too much sense. Around midnight, I stopped at the old diner we used to go to before we got married. The same flickering neon sign, the same corner booth. I ordered her favorite coffee out of habit and stared at the empty seat across from me. Once, that chair held laughter and plans. Now it held nothing but silence. My phone buzzed. Her name lit up the screen. This time, I didn't answer. I just typed back, "Don't worry, I'm not waiting up anymore." 5 minutes later, another message appeared. "Mark, what are you talking about? You're overreacting." Overreacting. That word again, the one she always used to turn my pain into a joke. I took a sip of the now bitter coffee and replied, "If you ever decide to tell the truth, I'll still be the same man you lied to, but I won't be the same man who believed you." No reply came, just a read receipt. And for the first time in months, I felt calm, like someone who'd finally stepped out of a storm and realized the quiet wasn't empty. It was freedom. When I came home the next morning, nothing had changed, but everything had. Her shoes by the door, her bag on the counter, the same perfume lingering in the air. But none of it smelled like love anymore. It smelled like lies. She was in the kitchen, pretending to make breakfast like nothing happened. "You came home early," she said, not looking at me. "I didn't have anywhere else to be," I replied. Her lips tightened. "You're upset about last night, aren't you? Mark, I told you I was working. At the bar." I cut in. With the music and the laughter? Her hands froze mid-motion. For a second, she tried to keep up the act, but her eyes gave her away before her voice did. "You're spying on me now," she snapped. I almost laughed. "No, Sarah. I just finally started listening." The silence that followed was heavy. Then came the excuses, the trembling voice, the half-truths. "It's not what you think," she muttered. "It never is," I said quietly. "Until it is." She broke down then, said it was just a colleague, just talking, but I didn't need details. I'd already lived them in her distance, her indifference, her disappearing affection. For years, I believed love meant endurance, that if you held on long enough, things would heal. But love without honesty is like building on sand. It always collapses. I picked up my jacket. I'm not angry, Sarah, I said softly. Just done. She reached out, desperate. Wait, Mark. Don't walk away. We can fix this. I paused at the door and looked back one last time. You told me not to wait up, I said. I finally listened. And I left. Days turned into weeks. She called. She texted. She cried at the doorstep once. But every time, I remember that message. 6 simple words that freed me more than they hurt me. Working late at the office. Don't wait up. Sometimes, betrayal doesn't scream. It whispers through routines, through silence, through words we pretend not to hear. That night didn't just end a marriage. It ended the version of me that begged to be loved by someone who'd already gone. I stopped waiting. Not just for her, but for the lies I once called love.